Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly what everybody got from the other night. So I wanted to summarize kind of the vision today of exactly what Red Chain is and where I think it's going and where I think it needs to go first. And so I want to start off with that today. That's kind of the whole point of today. And so the mission that I'm on personally, this isn't necessarily Red Chain's mission, but this is my mission throughout all the things that I'm doing with it, is to see Reformed Christian men in power over businesses as owners and as managers. Um, I've done enough research, talked with Tim Galeazzi, but I've also read books and listened to different people and stuff to know well enough that it is very possible to buy businesses and to do this very effectively and efficiently, to set up managers over them and do all this different stuff. And so, like, the basic premise of buying a business and that being a very doable thing, I my research says like yes, 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 not a huge deal at all. Can you guys hear me over all my outside noises? Good.
I can.
Awesome. Good morning, Tim.
Morning.
And this is all I need to be convinced. And so what I want to do over the next 13 weeks is to either convince you all of this same thing or out of it, so you can decide whether or not you believe that Red Chain and all that encompasses is where God wants you. So this first day and then throughout the next 12 weeks and 13 weeks, we are going to be going through the process of purchasing a business. We're just going to try to get down the system, like what exactly does it take to do that. There's tons of resources out there. And so each week I'll be handing out a simple assignment, which will be primarily just to listen to podcasts. They're 30 minutes to an hour long, things that we're probably already doing with other podcasts. And we're just going to hit on all the people that are already doing what we're wanting to do and hope we learn something together. You guys got any questions for me?
Oh, I'm on board. I understand your mission.
Awesome.
I'm tracking.
Cool. Yeah. So have you guys gotten a chance to listen to Bigger Pockets at all? I know, Jesse, you have. Tim, have you gotten a chance to check out Bigger Pockets?
No, I didn't. I haven't yet.
Okay. Yeah, no, I would suggest you listen to it, although you already know the premises of like what we're trying to do, but Bigger Pockets. So we got this step in Red Chain where we all need to learn how to buy businesses. We also all need to learn that in a very practical way. We need to have experience. That's my next step. But eventually, not very far down the road. So I'm not going to go through the whole purchase processing today, but like part of buying a business, a very common practice is to get a management team. You buy a business and then you get a management team. You're not going to be the one that goes personally and manages it, the day-to-day stuff. And so right off the bat, even pretty quick into buying businesses, my plan is to start integrating people from other like-minded churches, specifically within the CREC. Like when I'm looking at businesses to potentially invest in, I'm looking at churches right near the Twin Cities of Minnesota, down in Kansas, Missouri, over in Carbondale, Illinois, Chicago. These are all the places that I know we have other sister churches that are like-minded. And so I'm going to be able to find somebody, hopefully, who's able to manage those businesses. So that's the idea of Red Chain ultimately, is to get a means through which we can find those managers and all connect in an efficient way. Does that kind of ring a bell with what I was talking about the other day? Okay, cool. I was hoping that was clear. So Bigger Pockets is the ideal model business for Red Chain. They are what I think we want to be in the future, except in a slightly different industry. They're in real estate, we're in business. They are a social networking company that provides mostly free content and is supported only by a few paying members. They have podcasts, books, all sorts of education tools, and very few services that they really render. They primarily just are a place for fostering relationships in real estate. So I won't skip over the question, but I'll make it brief. Jesse, you're the only one who's listened to it. Do you have any opinions on what Bigger Pockets does and why it is successful? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, if you've read Robert Kiyosaki or watched him at all on YouTube, he's not practical in what he says. Like, he gives you big picture stuff, and so you like kind of get the vision for the cash flow quadrants and how that all works and why it works today and all of that. But he doesn't give you like the nuts and bolts of like, here's what you need to do, here's where you need to start. But Bigger Pockets, it's very successful because they basically, everyone that they talk to, and they themselves, they all have failure stories as well as success stories, and they all have all been through the process. And so one of the reasons why their podcast is so successful, and why it helps so many people, is that they're able to just talk in a very plain way about this is what you have to do. Go and find this mentor. Study study real estate, write the proposal, write the business plan, practice writing your business plan. And so that by the time someone is actually ready to go out and purchase a property, they've already like practiced or pretended to do it 10 times maybe. But then it's in the actual process, it's practical because you start where you can and you get in where you can, rather than waiting for like, I need $10 million so that I can buy, 1,000 unit apartment complex or whatever. It's, you start small, you buy what's affordable, you put in the sweat equity, and you flip it and you rent it out, refinance, repeat.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. That's actually like exactly where I'm going with it today. Yeah, they have very practical steps, and yeah, so I guess you pretty much explained exactly my 3 points that I have today on Bigger Pockets. So Bigger Pockets is such a vast thing that it's kind of hard to like summarize, but that's kind of what I've been trying to do because that's what I want to be like. And the 3 things that I've come down to, the 3 principles that I've seen them constantly have in every single podcast, all their education, just the entire thing, is preaching, counseling, and advising. Preaching, counseling, and advising. And I have specific meanings behind each one of those things. First of all, the most basic thing they do is they preach. They have a message that they preach. It's never contradicted, ever. It's very basic. It is, real estate is a good investment. It's super basic, but there's a lot of doubts that pop up in your mind in real estate. Like, could you make this mistake? Could you make this mistake? And just like as a general rule of thumb, this is their message. It's a good investment. That could be like their banner over their entire business. That's like their motto. And they preach that throughout all of their podcasts. They also counsel people. After you believe their basic message that real estate is a good investment, they want to get rid of all your roadblocks that keep you from being successful in real estate. They want to counsel you in the right mindset. 2 good examples that they constantly are trying to counsel people out of or into is they're trying to get people out of the scarcity mindset, the belief that there's only a little pie and you have to take a slice, and you really can't get more than that because there's only so much pie in the world. And then, so that's a horrible mindset. They want to get you out of that. You should be thinking like there's tons of new things to go discover. And the other thing they try to get you out of is the fear and hatred, especially as Christians, of debt. especially in today's fiat currency system. Debt is not a bad thing. It's not something we should fear. It has a very clear function. As Robert Kiyosaki puts it, it can be an asset, literally an asset. It's a wild world we live in, but that is the case. So they try to counsel people's mindset so that, yes, okay, you believe that real estate's a good investment, but now there's these things holding you back and you can't move forward because you believe XYZ. You believe that that's a bad thing. You believe whatever it is. So they do a good job of that. Then, and if you guys want to stop me at a point, you can. Thirdly, they advise people. And this is where they get really pragmatic. Those are the basic steps to doing things. These are the tools. This is the Burr method. Once you're convinced of their basic message, real estate's a good investment, and that you have the building blocks in place in your mind to actually enact some action, Bigger Pockets is a wealth of resources for pragmatic steps in how to actually acquire real estate. These include things like how to get a loan, really basic things, how to find or talk with realtors, how to analyze your market, and so on. There's just millions of things, short-term Airbnbs. The advice they give on specific steps is endless. So I wanted to point out that you may notice that the three principles, the preaching, the counseling, and advising, is everywhere in Bigger Pockets. And they are specific. The specific reason to why Bigger Pockets, I'm really trying to hone in on, like, why is Bigger Pockets so amazing? Like, what is the key factors in it, and how can we replicate that? The reason Bigger Pockets is at the top when it comes to real estate advice is, first, Bigger Pockets is not lopsided. They have all three of these principles present in every single educational podcast. You specifically hear some people preach mindset way too much. Like Robert Kiyosaki would be somebody who preaches he doesn't really preach a message. He primarily just counsels your mindset. Dan Pena does the same thing. He's mindset. When it comes to practical steps, Dan Pena is pretty much useless. He has like a very basic system. But as far as like from what I've seen, at least, I've not read everything of his. He's primarily just a resource to get you in the right track of mind so that you can go study the actual pragmatic steps. These guys all are really good examples of very lopsided opinions. They're very good, they're very helpful, but they're not going to be at the top of the teaching industry because they do not present everything. Bigger Pockets does. And secondly, almost every one of their podcasts naturally go through all three steps. That's pretty much the same thing. I just said the same thing twice. So yeah, they go through everything. If you listen to their podcast, just listen to the one that I sent to you guys. You'll see it linked in the agenda. Pretty much every single person they interview first talks about how they perceived that real estate as a good thing. Like, they might have had a W-2 job and then they accidentally flipped a house on accident because they like bought it when it was low, so it was high, and they're like, wow, you can make so much money. I made 50 grand in one day. And so they're preaching to you. They're saying real estate's a good thing. The second point every interviewee will go through is how they began one way, but in time, as their mindset changed and they understood that debt is a good thing, that there's plenty of opportunity, whatever the mindset thing is, they were becoming more effective. And so they're counseling your mindset in the podcast. And then the third thing they'll go through, very easily to see, they'll advise you on how exactly the boots on the ground work was done. They have the deal of the day, I forget what, deal machine or whatever they call it. And so they advise you on specific steps of all things real estate. So Yeah, I think that's the kind of breakdown of bigger pockets. Um, so at Red Chain, tying those three things together would look something like preaching that business buying is a good investment. That's not something that most people, it's not even on the radar of most people. Real estate kind of is, maybe not for everybody, but for a fair amount of Christians. Buying businesses, that's something that's kind of out there. Seems a little bit unattainable. um I'm gonna say, I mean, I've never bought a business, but I've done enough research to say like that's definitely something that's attainable for most people I know. And so we're gonna need to preach that message. We're gonna need to counsel people um, into the right mindset, to have a good work ethic, to believe that debt can be a good thing, stuff like that, and then give people pragmatic advice, which will come as we experience buying businesses more. So, you guys got any thoughts, questions, comments, whatever?
With your vision, are you wanting to buy a Kool-Aid stand to start with, or are you wanting to buy Walmart or Premier's, or what's the game plan here? What are you looking at as far as buying a business?
So my personal motto for life is the next big thing. I always believe that I should be pursuing whatever the next step is out of my comfort zone. Kool-Aid stand would be something new to me, but do I need to really go buy a business that's a Kool-Aid stand to understand how a Kool-Aid stand works? Not really. And so my goal would be more like $1 million business or something like that. And the reason I do aim smaller, like Tim, you're up here, some of us are down here, I'm somewhere in the middle. Why $1 million business or $2 million is a good business for me is, first of all, I know how to get the funding. Maybe that's a mindset thing. Second of all, though, is management. I want to be able to have management in place, and I know I can find management for a company of that size. I don't have a lot of connections in order to shoot much higher than that as of right this second. What are your thoughts on that, Tim?
Okay, my thoughts are this. I don't believe that. My belief system is you're not going to go out and hire somebody to transform this business at that level. This is low level. $1 million business is a low level business. And my belief set is we're not going to go buy ABC company for $1 million and say their sales is 5 million. It doesn't, it's the net operating income is what the bottom line is the bottom line is, what did you make after everything's said and done with? What money did you make? Now, going in and just hiring somebody to do it in the beginning of this process, I think is a failure. That's because I bought a $1 million business, and if I wasn't there, it wouldn't be open today, because I've found most people don't care. Most people care about themselves, and that's it. Until you get somebody who's got skin in the game, like us, who own it, to go in and transform it and then pave the way at this level. Now, you're talking a multi-million-dollar business, and that's my opinion on this level of business.
So
that makes sense?
Do you have a number in mind to where you'd say this is like the level at which you can probably hire a manager? What are your thoughts? So,
well, with your experience, and I'm just being brutally honest with you, At 24, I think you get your feet wet first.
Mm-hmm.
You go, and it's a learning process, not a let's go make a bunch of money process. Let's go and learn how to look at a P&L statement, learn what a business really looks like and is good, and then go do it, and then go hire, and then all the failures that come with it. I'll be honest with you, Jesse. The guy who bought my business is 52% behind this month alone, and this is his business last month, and this month is his the biggest months of the year. This is the cash cow. The 3 months will provide all the profit for the whole year. And he didn't listen to anything I said. He's got my same employees, and he's dying. Now, and I know right now, there is no way he would have bought this business. I know he would say that right now. And my point is, as an example, he wasn't prepared. He had no clue what and with buying a business, you want to be successful right out of the gate. Okay. And you've got to prepare this group to be successful right out of the gate. And maybe it is a Kool-Aid stand. And then you go step by step, and then you build capital and all that. That's my point is, I don't believe you're going to hire somebody unless you're extremely lucky. Now, down the road, you will, because you're going to incentivize them. They've already done it.
Yeah, you're going to incentivize them with equity and stuff like that. Yep. So is your final word on that, that people just getting started like me to start at the Kool-Aid level, stand at that level? Is that what you're advising?
Yes.
Mhm.
Because if you're going to buy a business, you better be prepared to lose the business. Because that can happen. And if you're not prepared for it, then and that puts you in debt, and now you have bad credit, and then your whole dream, personally, and then people want to invest in you, and then they look at your portfolio and they say, hey, wait a minute here. So you want to do everything you can to be successful at the beginning, and then it will domino. But if it backfires on you, then it could. Everybody wanted to do what I was a medical device rep, and I had people come over with no experience. I had a guy just 2 weeks ago call me, and I said, go learn how to sell stuff first. Well, I got this company interested in me. I said, you know what? If you don't know how to sell, and you're going to go into a physician and you're going to tell him how to treat patients, and you fail, you might not sell again the rest of your life. But go out and become successful, learn the process, the technique, the experience in that, and then go step by step by step. Then you'll be more successful. If not, you could kill yourself in that arena of business. That's my 2 cents.
That's great. Yeah, I don't have anything to argue with because I'm not experienced enough to argue enough with you. Yeah, I'm going to keep that in my mind. I think we all should. Thanks, Tim.
And you probably should go out and infiltrate. Are you looking at non-Christians or just Christians for this group? And could this group actually train other non-Christians? Like I have some guys that I would like to invite. Are they going to church like us? No, but they have a wealth. They may have money. They have maybe a wealth of knowledge as well. So there's a question to you.
Yeah, I'd be down for inviting people who are not Christian, who are knowledgeable. Am I seeking out non-knowledgeable pagans or non-Christians, whatever you want to say? Not really, because then I have to train them, and there's so many Christians out there who don't know anything, and so I'd rather train them first. If I'm going to take my time, if we're going to take our time and like be part of something, growing together. I'd rather be part of a Christian thing. But if they already know what they're doing and they can teach us something, that's great. I'd be glad to learn from non-Christians. They don't have to be Christian to teach me or anything or teach us. So if you're wanting to ask somebody to join our group, that would be fine. So,
Okay.
well, we're coming to a quick close here soon here. Next week, my plan is to just dive in the best I can into how we're going to purchase businesses, how that works, the processes of it. We'll learn both principles and specifics. And so before next week, I would advise everybody, especially the young guys who didn't show up to this meeting, to go listen to the Business Buying Strategies podcast. Really good stuff. The guy is a really professional business buyer. He's bought like 40 businesses since the pandemic. Not saying he won't go belly up in the future, but he seems to be doing very well. He seems to give things in a very clear and understandable way. I think it's very beneficial to a beginner to listen to stuff like that. So you'll find the link in today's agenda at the very end. I'd suggest go listening to that. And anybody else have final word? We got 1 minute left. If not,
No, it's good. I'm looking forward to watching that business buying podcast.
heck yeah.
You're saying it's on here?
Yeah, today's
It's at the very end.
There's a link, yeah. Are you on today's agenda, Tim?
Yeah. Well, I see the link for the Zoom call, and then I see the Bigger Pockets link, but I don't see anything else.
Zoom way down, or sorry, scroll way down to the bottom. It's like pages. It should work for you.
Huh. It opened up in Adobe. It didn't open in.
Okay. Well, Tim, I can send that to you through text message.
I'll figure it out.
Sounds good. All right. You guys have a great day.
Yeah, do it, because for some reason, hold on.
Okay. See you later.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.